Rassie Erasmus has made winning boring. An interesting idea, isn't it? And one that's going to generate, I think, quite a lot of emotions with a lot of people. But what we are seeing with the Springboks is the ultimate luxury, and that is it is no longer good enough to win matches. We need to win matches in certain ways. We need to win matches with certain scorelines. And nothing has illustrated that better than the last 6 weeks of Springbok rugby. The Springboks are on a 11-game winning streak, and life is pretty good as a Springbok fan. We are seeing an opportunity to enjoy a team that rotates quite often, that has tremendous depth, and gets the results seemingly without having to get out of second gear. Players, coaches, pundits around the world are all pretty much in agreement that this is the best team in the world at the moment. And we are now in the golden generation of a team where we just don't seem to be slowing down. And with the Under 20 World Cup coming through, or the World Championship, back to back champions, and the Springboks are not only an 11-game winning streak, but they've won about 33, I think 33 or 34 games of the last 37 matches, including beating every single one of the Tier 1 nations. In the last calendar year, we have beaten every single one of the top 10 teams in the world, including record defeats against the All Blacks and averaging during the Nations Championship over 40 points a match. So it's an interesting time because why would we ever be complaining about a situation like this? And yet, there are always going to be reactions due to a poor performance or a subpar performance. And we are now drawn into this amazing moral debate about winning rugby the right way. And it's this incredible concept where we've got this rugby values or moral code about, you got to do things the right way. And the right way is this completely subjective idea of what is considered good versus bad rugby. And the idea is that it's not codified. What I can enjoy in rugby is different to what somebody else can enjoy rugby. Yes, there are probably all these sort of the overlaps with it, which is the likes of big hits, amazing tries, end-to-end games, good skills on display. But we get seduced by the fun things. And I don't think we always appreciate the grinding that rugby union is. That is what separates rugby union from rugby league and other sports. It is things like your set piece, the physical battle, the tactical chess game that all the different coaches have to play. And when I say that Rassie has made winning boring, it means that we are in a situation where we now really overanalyze, the games. And opposition fans, some, not all, are very quick to talk about the style the Springboks play versus other teams, and that's this idea of negative rugby. And unfortunately, the Boks in South Africa have to deal with this idea of negative rugby since the 2019 World Cup, which is 7 years ago. And everybody talks about the fact that it's the same game plan. And for me, that is the easiest way you can show that you don't watch rugby, that you haven't watched the Boks. The progression we have seen, even since the 2023 World Cup, in terms of the variety of the Springboks gameplay, has been immense. But we've also now been so spoiled with results and scoring lots of tries and playing in a certain way that the second we don't, there's like almost a bit of a tinge of disappointment. And that is such a great place to be in. This whole idea of winning in the correct way is absolute nonsense as far as I'm concerned. Playing pretty rugby, playing attractive rugby, inverted commas, is not the priority at test match level. It really isn't. And every single team that plays, at inverted commas, a nice brand of rugby would all give that up, would give anything up for success. We have seen teams try and do things, inverted commas, the right way, the moral high ground. We've seen Bazball in cricket where they lost games, but they tried to do something differently. And all that it resulted in basically is a team not winning results. We have seen teams in football try and play, open, possession-based, beautiful football and lose big games. On the other side, we have seen teams like the Boks 2019, call a spade a spade. We didn't have the time to start putting together this massively comprehensive game plan. The coaches had a year to get ready for the World Cup. And as a result, we went back to exactly where we could find small marginal gains and small big gains and find a system that can win us the World Cup. And it worked. We then progressed on that. And we continue to progress on that as well. This whole idea of the pretty way is the best way is a complete fallacy. Often teams that try to play expansive versions of the game open themselves up for big results, big losses. What you got to do is find the best way to score more points than your opponent. That's all rugby is. Score more points than your opponents. Can stop them from scoring points, find ways of scoring more points. That is the simple basics. And if you start getting drawn into how that's done and what is considered the universal pretty language and pretty way of watching rugby, you are setting yourself up for failure. I can tell you right now, the All Blacks have often been held as, the style to play rugby. A lot of that is built on the back of big physical forwards. People don't want to hear it, but you think about the best New Zealand sides. Think about the 2011 to 2015. Think about the role that Kieran Reid, Jerome Kaino, Brodie Retallick all played in those teams. Nonu, he's an incredibly skillful centre. When he first came through, though, very big physical presence first and foremost. Physicality is the name of the game. It always has been, always will be. Yes, there will be other players who won't fit into the traditional mold, but that is where the game starts and expands outwards. Now, having said that, New Zealand, again, considered that's how you play rugby in inverted commas in terms of the right way to play. Go and ask any sort of New Zealand fan, would you compromise the way you play to have won the 2019 or the 2023 World Cup? And I'm pretty sure they would all say 100%. You've got to understand where the game is, what the laws are, and what the most efficient way of winning is. That's what the Springboks have done. We've created these incredibly high standards. We've got to try and stick to them. It's a very new place where Springbok rugby is. We've always been a top side in the world. We've never had this kind of dominance. And we're having to learn what that means and what the good and the bad that comes with it. What's next? How do we stay on top? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below.